This was the future in 1988, right? This is drawn in the 1950s, in 60s, thinking about the 1960s, thinking about the 1980s. Let's take a close look at what's going on in America. I think we have fear of numbers. For example, okay, here goes one. Maybe it's not fear, maybe it's ignorance of numbers. Okay. Science illiteracy is rampant in our culture. I'm not telling. I've changed my views 360. If you don't remember what 360 degrees is, it is that, okay? Now, I wonder, maybe the congressperson did do that. Exactly. Maybe they're just trying to fool you. Maybe they're trying to make you think they changed their mind, but they did not, okay? I'd have more respect for them lying with correct math, okay? But I'm pretty sure he was telling the truth with math ignorance. Half the schools in the district are below average. You know, that's kind of what an average sort of is, right? About half below. That's kind of what, not exactly maybe, but pretty much so. Technically, that would be, what would that be? The median, technically, but still. What the journalist probably meant to say was half the schools are below standards or below grade level. But they said below average, which meant they were mathematically illiterate. If that were actually true, something would be wrong with the state of mathematics. Here's one, a little more subtle. 80% of airplane crash survivors had studied the locations of the exit doors on takeoff. So you say, well, I'm going to study where the exit doors are, because I want to be in that 80%. That's a good percentage to be in, isn't it? That's good. So, but think about this. Wait, what's So think about, so here, let me just posit a question to you. Suppose 100% of the dead people study the locations of the exit doors on takeoff. You would never know because they're dead, all right? So this statistic is basically meaningless to act upon. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. This one, you get this a lot. The state lottery is a tax on the poor. We've heard this, because poor people spend a disproportionate fraction of their income on state lotteries. Does Washington have a state lottery? No, every state has. But really, I don't think of it this way. I think of it as the state lottery is a tax on all those people who never did well in their math class. That's how I think about it. How about buildings? You go into buildings. 80% of all buildings are missing a 13th floor. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16. I feel like going into all these elevators with a Sharpie, crossing out the floor, putting it, and saying, that's the 13th floor. You're not fooling anybody. This is 21st century America, and we have people afraid of the number 13. And what happens when you get to lobby and then you go to floors below the lobby? What do they call them? B for basement, SB, sub SB, B. Can I buy a vowel, please? Like, what are you doing there? We have perfectly good nomenclature for going below the lobby level. They're called negative numbers, okay? We know how to do this. It is well understood. But of course, this is America. There is a place in the world that has negative numbers. Oh, it's in Germany. Oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, is this a science museum? No, it's a history museum. Germany. That's a closer look in case you missed it. Okay? There's also bad physics. All right? Now, this illustration requires an explanation. This is an ad for Holiday Inn. Now, admittedly, this is Holiday Inn England rather than Holiday Inn America. But Holiday Inn is an American company. Now, this is an ad for a new marketing plan where you can have what they're calling bed warmers pre-warm your bed for you before you go to sleep at night. Okay, so the people on either side are the bed warmers. Now, of course, he's looking at her and not him. Just interesting fact there. But this is a thermodynamically pointless exercise because the only way you're going to get the body heat from those two people is if they are naked in your bed. But for reasons of sanitation, they are not only fully clothed, they are fully insulated. If you're insulated, your heat is not coming out. It stays within all of your clothing, so they are not heating the bed at all. Whoever thought this up never took Physics 101. If they did, then these two people would be naked. I got another one. Is there any Bayer, the Bayer Corporation, do they have plants out here? No? Good, okay. This is an ad from Bayer where they are boasting that they send their scientists into the schools to help out. So Bayer employees volunteer in a hands-on, inquiry-based program, making science make sense, to help kids develop a lasting passion for science. You're on. Try to get them interested. Now, first of all, they've got a black kid and a woman. Like, apparently these are the problem cases that you got to get interested. Like, how about the white kid with the tattoo who just got off the motorcycle? Where's he? Okay? But, okay, so these are the problem kids, okay? The woman and the black kid. All right, let's see what we're trying to get them interested in. Try to get them interested in why lighter things fall faster than heavier things. That's a tough one, huh? It's tough because that doesn't happen in this universe. Yes, they would finally fix the ad. You're on. Try to get them interested in why lighter things fall as fast as heavier things. That's the Galilean experiment. But what's clear is that that previous ad was written by somebody. Nobody caught the error. It was typeset. It was laid out. It was printed. No one caught the error. Nobody in the entire chain of command, from the first person who composed it to the copy editor of the magazine ad. So what's clear is that that whole chain of people are the ones who should be in this photo, and not these two kids. The American Physical Society meets, it's sort of my professional physics organization, and choose a city. Occasionally, this one time we met in Las Vegas, but this is what happened here. Vegas asked them never to return to the city. We're talking about America, people. Bad engineering. What is this? Okay, levees broke in New Orleans, 2005. If you read accounts of this, they say, oh, Katrina came in and Hurricane Katrina, bad hurricane. Excuse me, pause, back up. Do you know Katrina was category 5 in the Gulf? On landfall, it was category 3. It had already passed over New Orleans. People were sweeping up some of the broken branches in the street. Then the levees broke. The city survived the hurricane just fine. What it is they didn't survive was faulty engineering. That was the problem in 2005. And I submit to you that you look at these images and people hoping to get rescued from their rooftops, and you ask yourself, what country is this? Some of us who are old enough, we used to see film loops of third world countries where you see an absence of infrastructure, people towing, their belongings with an ox through mud. And you say, oh, that's the third world. We live in America. What country is this? In the middle of Manhattan, a steam pipe explodes. People died. Steam? Don't we know how to move steam from one place to another? Wait a minute, we're actually still using steam? Wait, what? Okay. I'm not going far back in time to get these stories. bridge collapses. I-35, Minnesota. A bridge collapsed? You go through Europe, there's still bridges standing from the Roman Empire. We can't put a bridge over that, all right? That's not a river, this is a brook, all right? What country is this? Let's go to Los Angeles. Trains collide. People get hurt. Some people die. You think we would have figured this one out. A train comes this way, you don't send another train the opposite direction on the same track. That would be like commandment number 1. All right, railroads 101. A crane collapsed. Back in New York, a crane collapsed. What, you can't hold up a crane? What country is this? Hurricanes come. We say, run! Now, here's what's interesting. I think these people already know about this, okay? So, this is useless information to all these people. Now, here's what happens. If you don't have scientists and engineers in your midst, when a hurricane comes or some kind of a natural disaster, your first thought is stockpile food and run. But if you're an engineer or a scientist and the disaster's coming, you say, how can I avert that disaster? I foresee a day where a hurricane forms in the Gulf. You put in some kind of apparatus that taps the energy of that hurricane, and that energy drives the electricity of the city that would otherwise be destroyed by the hurricane had it continued to go through. That's the kind of thinking that needs to go on in this world. What country is this? I'm not going far back in time here. This is, yesterday's news. What country are we living in? There's more what's going on. Profound science illiteracy in this country. Here's a book that I read before I came here. I read it in its entirety. I heeded its advice. I wanted to make sure I showed up for you this evening. So someone has to write this book. An editor says, hey, that's a good idea for a book. A publisher publishes it, they put it on the shelf, and then people buy it. How about this one? And this, I just one. How to Survive 2012. Tactics and survival places for the coming pole shift. Pole shift? Where'd they get that from? The pole? The end of the world? In there is the Mayan calendar. Because clearly the Mayans knew more about astrophysics than any of us do today. Clearly. And wait a minute. Next Saturday. Whoa, next Saturday. Whoa. What country is this? What millennium is this? So what's interesting is originally they said the world was going to end May 21st, but then it was revised, and so apparently the 21st is only Judgment Day, so Jesus is coming on the 21st, and I'm guessing that he's really pissed, okay? So, at human beings. So 5 months later is the asserted end of the world, as evidenced right here, the end of the world, and there's not much sand left in that clock. You can translate this into any language. There's an audio reading of this, and you can get the printer-friendly PDF version of this account. What country is this? I'll show you where this answering the question, did human beings, as we know them, develop from an earlier species of animals? This is simply evolution by natural selection. So if you're this is countries ranked, sort of Western countries and countries that are otherwise developed by the modern use of that word. So if you're this sort of the green bar, it means yes to that question, which means that you're convinced by evolution. If you're this sort of amber bar on the right, it means no. And if you're the white in between, it means you're unsure. So America's got to be up there somewhere. No, Iceland, Denmark, Sweden, France, Japan, Britain, Norway, Belgium, Spain, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Hungary, Luxembourg, Iceland, Slovenia, Finland, Czech Republic, Estonia, Portugal, Malta, Switzerland, Slavic Republic, Poland, Austria, Croatia, Romania, Greece, Bulgaria, Lithuania, Latvia, Cyprus, United States of America. edging out Turkey by a nose. There it is. What country is this? Maybe we should just move back to the caves. Let's analyze it a little further. Here's a map. This map has the area of each country apportioned according to their surface area on a globe, which means it's a normal map. Okay, so what we're about to do is morph the area of each country according to how much peer-reviewed science research is conducted in that country. Okay, let's do that. So this is a measure of who's doing the most science in the world. Some countries will shrink relative to that area you see here. Others will expand depending on how active they are in science. So let's check out what happens when we do this. Well, the United States is sitting fat and pretty there, I'd say. That's America, yeah. Yeah, okay. Wait, what's that big purple region away? Whoa, what was that? What's that purple? Whoa. What country is that? Japan, kicking major science butt on the map right there. One of the great tragedies is Africa shrinking to nothing in area on this chart compared with the area it actually occupies in the world. That is a modern day tragedy right there, given the natural resources that are prevalent within it. Europe is huge. They split formerly Eastern Europe, that's in blue, from Western Europe, that's in those shades of pink. So, oh, and there you have Brazil, that's the aerospace industry kicking in there. All right, so you look at this, you say, hey, we're doing pretty good. Tyson, what are you complaining about? Okay? Okay? This is the wrong map. What you want to look at is not how much science is going on, no. You want to look at the change in how much science is going on from the year 2000 to 2010. That's the trend line. That is the future of the world. Compare the difference in published research papers in all sciences between 2000 and 2010, and you get this. Europe is even bigger. Japan is even bigger. China is huge. Africa is even smaller. This is the changing landscape of the world. As everyone else understands the value of innovative investments in science and technology in ways that we do not, we slowly fade. This is the fading that worried me when Russia says, oh, you guys want to join us for a mission that will save your West Coast? You say, well, sure, well, we got our space program. We're to lead the world in space. How about space? We've got some faulty memory going on. One of them is that we're space pioneers. That's a faulty memory. Okay? Yuri Gagarin was launched into orbit 50 years ago, April 12th. Okay? We all know that. Did you know, however, that he, and I tweeted this, by the way, he was the fourth mammal to achieve this feat after dogs, guinea pig, and mice. Then we sent, a human, they all Russian, a Russian dog, Laika, guinea pig and mice, then Yuri Gagarin. So let's look at the full list. Dogs, in order, dogs, guinea pigs, mice, Russian human, chimpanzee, American human. Does that sound like we're pioneers here? We come behind Russian mice. The Russians did all this first. They came up with the rocket formula, for goodness sake. This is the formula that tells you that most of the fuel in your rocket that's yet to be burned requires fuel to lift it to a place so that you can later on burn it. That's why the Saturn V rocket, 32 stories tall, the astronauts are in the upper little bitty bitty, and all the rest is a bomb, basically. All right? First satellite, first animal, first human, first woman, first black person in space, first to land on the moon with a robots. First lunar rover, they photographed the far side of the moon. Earthrise from the moon. Venus, Mars, spacewalk. Now we have a few firsts, we have a couple. First space docking, first to land on the moon. We crossed the asteroid belt first. First to achieve hyperbolic velocity, velocity that escapes the solar system. Okay, but still, this is hardly what you would call pioneering behavior.